Hi, I'm Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig. Happy Soil and Water Conservation Week to everyone. Iowa's economy depends on agriculture, and our agriculture depends on our natural resources. So it's important that we continue to protect these valuable resources, our soil and water. It's essential to ensure that our state remains a productivity powerhouse for generations to come. I want to thank the Iowa Learning Farms for organizing this virtual field day. I want to thank you all for participating and to tune in and participate in other Soil and Water Conservation Week activities in your community. If you helped organize something, I also want to thank you. Today, you're all here to learn more about ag drainage wells. This has been a topic and an issue in Iowa now for many decades. But here's the good news. I'm proud to say that we're on the cusp of finally closing this chapter. Ag drainage wells are drilled into fractured limestone that is connected then to farm field drainage tiles. These were constructed by private landowners in the early and mid-1900s in locations where daylighting tile to an open outlet was too costly. The unintended consequence was this allowed for direct conduit into the groundwater, while landowners and neighbors used the same aquifer for their drinking water. The Groundwater Protection Act passed in 1987, and it required that ag drainage wells be studied at that time. Fast forward to 1999, the Iowa Department of Ag and Land Stewardship received the first appropriation directed toward closing ag drainage wells. In so doing, 37 were closed in Pocahontas County initially. Over the next 25 years, we received nearly $25 million in appropriations, and that has been paired with over $12 million in landowner and partner contributions. When all is said and done, 195 ag drainage wells will be closed, with 178 of those in Humboldt, Pocahontas, and Wright counties. At this time, only 10 of those 195 remain open, and they're under contract to be closed this year. That's great news. You know, it's a testament to the continued efforts of many, including somebody very special, Mike Borland, an engineer on our team who has been heavily engaged in this project throughout his entire career. Those weren't all constructed overnight, and they weren't all closed overnight. But when the last of these wells is closed this fall, this chapter will finally be finished. Thank you to everyone who has played a role in this effort. And thank you to everyone who continues to do their part to improve and protect our water quality and to conserve and preserve our valuable soil. It all makes a difference. So please enjoy the field day today. It'll be focused on the Humboldt County Ag Drainage Well Closure Wetland Project. This unique project involves many landowners, many partners who've been involved in the development of this for over the past 5 years. It's great to see that everything has come together and the construction has been started. Thank you again for what all of you do to build our culture of conservation in Iowa. I look forward to the great work we'll continue to do together in the years ahead. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mike Borland. I'm an environmental engineer that works with the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. And part of my role in my job has been to oversee the closing of ag drainage wells in the state of Iowa. Ag drainage wells, in case you don't know, they are wells that landowners, farmers put in back in the early 1900s to mid-1900s in order to allow farm tile to be connected to them to provide drainage. Obviously, that's a concern with the contamination to groundwater because they provide a direct conduit into the fractured limestone. So the state of Iowa passed the Groundwater Protection Act in 1987 that made these ag drainage wells illegal. And then there was also a mechanism that was added to do funding to research to figure out what to do with these wells. Eventually, it led to all the wells wanting to be closed. And all the wells had to be registered with the state of Iowa, and the DNR is the one that controlled the regulation and issued continued use permits for these ag drainage wells. So there's 300 known ag drainage wells that were throughout the state of Iowa, In 1999 and 2000, the DNR issued 202 continued use permits. The other wells were determined to either be non-functioning or were closed by the landowner instead of getting a permit, or were determined to be natural sink wells that were not that did not need to be registered. So over the last 30 years, the state of Iowa has been providing cost share money and working with the landowners to get these ag drainage wells closed. The Iowa Department of Agriculture has worked to close 195 wells. We have 10 remaining, and this project that we're on today in Humboldt County is closing 7 of those 10 remaining wells. And this is a unique project in many ways, because not only are we closing the wells, but we're creating a wetland mitigation bank. It's been a very long process. We've had to work with over a dozen landowners to work with them to make sure that we're able to accommodate their concerns as we close the wells and create wetlands. Some of them are acreage owners, some of them are farmers, and farmers like to continue to farm their land. That's why they purchased it. So trying to work with them to give a permanent easement so they're unable to farm anymore and allow a wetland and prairie grasses to be planted has been challenging with many of them. Some of the questions that the landowners would have is, why do we have to do this project this way? Why can't we just do alternative drainage like we've done on other projects? The thing that's unique about this project, it's in a very low elevation, and there's no real practical way to have a gravity outlet where these wells are located without going several miles northeast on other people's property in a very expensive project. And so we've been working with them to close these wells and create a wetland. How were we able to convince farmers who wanted drainage and to allow a wetland to be built? We had to work with them. Some of the easements are smaller than we would have liked them to be to accommodate their preferences. But really, it came down to, okay, the state of Iowa has mandated that these wells be closed. And so you have a choice. Either close a well on your own and whatever consequences happen, or you can work with me and we'll figure out the best way possible to accommodate your concerns. We'll need a permanent easement and allow a wetland to be built. And then you'll actually be working with me. You'll get compensated for your loss of the ability to farm the land, but you'll also be creating a wetland mitigation bank, so it'll actually help farmers who, when they have other areas that they want to drain that is considered a farm wetland, they can purchase credits from this mitigation bank that is being established. Yes, this area is a low area, and it is prone to flooding. A lot of the farmers have had crop losses and had to replant often. And so by doing this, we're able to put a wetland in the low areas and allow the benefit of the ecological benefits that come with wetlands. Well, the ecological benefits obviously is going to create a place for wildlife with waterfowl, and then even the areas around it will be in native grasses and flowers, so there'll be nesting birds there. Then also provides water quality benefits, because the groundwater will no longer be going directly into the limestone, and it will be actually help filtered through the wetland as it works its course through the natural drainage. How large is this project? The overall project, there's about 230 acres of permanent easement that we've worked with the landowners. And there'll be about 130 acres of wetland credits that are developed through this project. So if you come back in 2 years, right now it's a construction site and it looks pretty barren. But in a couple of years, what you'll see is a lot of water. It will be shallow, mostly 2 feet. The areas around the wetland will be native grasses and native flowers. And it should be a really nice place for wildlife to be here, and it will help protect the groundwater. I've spent the last 5 years working with the landowners, working with the DOT because we're working along Highway 3, just trying to get all approvals and all the permission. We were able to bid the project last fall. A little bit of work got done, but most of the work is getting done this year. The overall project is going to end up being around $1.8 million of construction. We spent over $2 million on the permanent easement, but which all sounds expensive, but we are able to again protect the groundwater. We're able to create a lot of wetland mitigation credits through this project. You know, our department, one of our primary goals is to really improve water quality in Iowa, how farmers can be responsible farmers and help protect the environment. And this is one of the unique things about this project, is not only are we closing the ag drainage wells, we are also creating wetlands that will help provide a lot of water quality benefits. So it really fits with the overall goals and direction that our department sees as important and directing towards.
I'm Rick Peterson, Humboldt County Supervisor. Been involved in this ag well closure ever since I got on the board about 13 years ago. It's been a great thing for the landowners. They would have been very difficult to do it without the cost share that the state provided, because some of these tiling projects were very extensive, in the area of $500 to $1,500 an acre. Even with the cost share, it costs the farmers that much. So it would have been impossible to do without the cost share program. This project here that we're seeing here, the county is not actually involved in, but we did hold meetings to get the people together so Mike could talk to them. They could talk amongst themselves, have a lot of discussion. We had several meetings with the farmers trying to get this project going, mainly because this one was the most difficult in the county, most expensive. With the cost share, I think it was still going to cost some acres up to $5,000 an acre with the cost share. So that was to do a tile project. So they come up with this wetlands program, which is much more affordable. Works out great. Humboldt County started off with, I think, close to 100 wells, 93 or something like that, or 125. Some of those were involved in drainage districts, some were private wells. So we help the local farmer do the private closures also. So, you know, if a project involved two neighbors, they worked together with the state, got the wells closed, got refunded the money. So we help facilitate those projects. We had several drainage districts that had drained a lot of acres into several wells, and we helped work with those. Those are a little more difficult because it involved way more people, but that's how drainage law works. It was petitioned to do it, and we followed through the legal aspects of it. Some farmers didn't like it. That's unfortunately the way projects go sometimes, but it was good for everyone in the end. This project here was different than our other ones because it isn't a drainage district, and closing the wells here is going to flood land. So it's a more harder sell for the farmers. Some farmers are going to have to relocate land, hopefully purchase land somewhere else, and some have done that. Some are staying here and creating their wetlands with Pheasants Forever and Ducks Unlimited and things like that, which is great for the conservation part of the projects. The county was more of just a facilitator in this because we had no control over the project. Where in drainage districts we have some control. This one here was basically getting the farmers to sit down at the table and talk. It was a different type of setup for us than we're used to. But it worked out well in the end. It's been a long time coming, and I think it's a great project for the area. When we look at wetland projects, it brings in a lot of business in the area of duck hunters, pheasant hunters. Recreational land is a top priority in Humboldt County because it draws people in. People enjoy those type of things, whether it's the hunting or just the viewing of wildlife. And water quality is also a big thing for Humboldt County, and I do believe farmers have that at heart because they drink the water also. So the overall ag closure project for all these wells has been a good thing for Iowa in general and Humboldt County.